Hey, and welcome to this new show here on Radio Iceland 89.1. This is a talk show, the first out of 6, and my name is Nabil Atassi. I'm a journalist from Germany, and I'm hosting in real life shows there in the German public radio. And guess what it is? It's a talk show with jazz musicians. And so it is tonight. With me here in the studio from now on every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for the next 6 weeks is going to be the who's who of Icelandic jazz. And let me introduce my first guests here tonight in the studio. Straight away, it's Ómar and Óskar Guðjónsson from ADHD. Welcome, Ómar. Welcome, Óskar.
Hello, thank
you. So thank nice to have you guys here. You are from the band ADHD. And that's not that's a very well-known name in Icelandic jazz. You guys just released your last album half a year ago. What happened since then, Ómar?
We've been touring some, mainly in mid-Europe, Germany and around. And ADHD is kind of this period working band. We choose some periods to work, and either we go on tour or we make some music or write or practice or dance together.
You guys are pretty busy as musicians, Óskar. You tour around not only with ADHD. So when you release albums and then they come out and then you go tour with ADHD, what is the difference for you guys? I mean, Óskar, you are on like every record regarding Icelandic jazz. If there's a saxophone, it's gonna be, well, you can bet on it's gonna be Óskar Guðjónsson playing.
Sometimes, not all. I mean, we have, for a small country, we have quite a big selection of great musicians and great jazz musicians. I mean, there are 2 or more active jazz big bands. I'm not even counting. There are 5 active big bands in Reykjavik and more school big bands. So there's a lot of great instrumentalists that play in many different projects, and I think that's how you have to do in a small country. Everybody has to help each other and, be in all the bands that needs to be in.
That's a good point, Óskar. But still, let's keep on that. What makes it special for you guys to play with ADHD? When you, taking your busyness with all the other projects that you are in and questioned musicians you are, what makes it special with ADHD?
Well, usually bands have a leader. Many bands are in the name of one person, and then everybody else is a kind of a session man. ADHD feel like a complete band because each and every member has the same value and has the same right in any way, and we try not to do anything unless everybody is involved, and everybody is allowed to say whatever needs to be said and do whatever needs to be done. So it feels like a complete band, and when you're in a band, it's not only that you trust the people and respect them, but in this case, these are your best friends also. So there is a lot of love between people. I mean, there is a lot of love between Icelandic musicians, but I think in this case, you feel like it's a very tight family, a very loving and caring family that, I mean, to tour with ADHD is like going on the road with some kind of a humor TV show, circus, kind of a funny circus TV show, because it's just unbelievable. It's so much fun, and these are people that you know really well and care about. So it's like traveling with your family all the time.
We'll talk about that more after the music that comes from your new album. You just released it half a year ago, and you've done this tour. And we're going to talk about the other band members that couldn't come to the studio. We have the famous Guðjónsson brothers. This is ADHD, Flugzeug. that was Flugzeug. And this is a German title for an Icelandic song from the band ADHD. And with me here in the studio are Ómar and Óskar Guðjónsson, and they are known as the Guðjónsson brothers. Everybody here in Iceland knows who you are, guys. You play as very busy musicians kind of everywhere, but you have just told us what is special about ADHD. Talking about the last album, you started in 2008 and you know each other for quite a while. You two, for sure, because you're brothers. How did that start with ADHD in 2008? I mean, that's relatively late for your musical lives.
Yeah, it's me and Davíð, we've known each other since we were teenagers, and there was Óskar put this band together basically in 2008. He got an invitation for a blues festival in east of the country to do something in a blues festival. So Óskar needed some band and put together these 4 people, and we felt something straight away. We wanted to do more than just one blues festival.
You could say that these are people from 4 different time periods of Icelandic music life.
Just to start with you, Óskar, you're the first one.
Yeah, I'm
on
the
oldest.
I'm the oldest. And I got this invitation to put together a band, and I wanted to put together a band that would basically only play our own music. But at this blues festival is the only time that we played some old blueses, some old jazz blueses from 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. But we also played our own songs. So we did like 2 different things at this first gig that we played. And Ómar and Davíð, like Ómar said, have known each other since they were teenagers. I've known Ómar, and because of Ómar, I knew Davíð also. Ómar and Davíð had a few bands together when they were young, and I've always admired their like expressive playing style, which is very expressive, but not in a bad way, but in a very just explosive way in some kinds. And they both are a very unique players. They have a unique sound, and you know it when you meet these kinds of people that they're always looking for something. And this is exactly the same with Maggi. When I met him much later, that Maggi was always looking for something and always listening to something. He always had headphones on, and we were always talking about music. And I felt, even though Maggi was about 20 at the time, that he was somehow much older.
It's maybe time to mention now the other band members. It's Davíð Þór Jónsson,
yes,
the piano player,
Hammond
pianist, and he plays Hammond in a very special way. And then there's Maggi, Magnús Trygvason Eliassen.
Yes.
Yeah. Did I spell it right?
Yeah.
Yes,
well, everybody calls him Maggi.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him as Maggi.
Yeah.
And Maggi actually plays in a million bands too.
Right.
And he plays many different styles. Is that also something that you chose for ADHD as an input, or was it the person of Maggi that you chose?
It's more the person.
I think so, yeah.
I think it's, in the end, it wouldn't have mattered if it would have been a viola, trombone, mandolin, and recorder. It's not about the instruments. It's more about what kind of personalities, what kind of persons would fit together, and people that are like-minded. And I found this out actually much later, but it was a good coincidence that it's also very good to have people that are fun to be around on the road. Because
and they are.
and
they are.
They are a lot of
Definitely.
fun. So
let's talk about that. I have another song coming up later. It's for Davíð Þór, who couldn't be here in the studio tonight with you. Let's speak about your last album. Since 2008, and you started this band, you had a pretty high output of 5 albums. Did you see, is there any development? You just named them pretty simple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 just came out now. What is special about 5?
I mean,
if I wouldn't have an ADHD album and I would have to go and buy one, would you recommend number 5? I have only money for one album, so don't tell me I have to buy all the 5 of them.
I think that's something, you know, you don't choose between your records.
Like choosing between your children.
I mean, no, but obviously there's some development, but I think from the first record there's some kind of the similarities as well. But each and every record has a smell of the period. The band is kind of we've been touring a lot the last 5 years, and developed together. And I think for us probably last records are more done together. Maybe if that's right put. I mean, it's like the first record was more that we brought the tunes, you know, you bring this tune, I bring this tune, and it's supposed to sound like this or something. But the last record is more, you know, more collaboration and more done together, I think.
I think definitely from the first rehearsal, I think we had a kind of a sound of our own, just because each and every person has such a strong personal sound. And the good thing was that it blended extremely well together, and because all of these musicians listen very carefully, it blends even better. So if I would have to choose, I would say you start with number 1.
We'll talk about that and about the special sound, but now we're going to listen to a song from number 5. It's called AIFE on Radio Iceland. listening to Radio Iceland. All English talk, all Icelandic music. And so it is tonight at this show, which is new, and it's going to be up for the next 6 weeks. And with me in the studio is ADHD. To be concrete, it's Óskar and Ómar Guðjónsson. And missing are 2 other members of the band. It's Davíð Þór and Maki. And we were just talking about how special it is for you guys to play with. And you said these guys are able to listen. That's what makes it special. So if I asked you, Ómar, who has which part in the band? Maybe it's a question hard to answer, isn't it?
Well, Maki is our father and we're the children.
Well, it should be the opposite, actually.
Yeah,
You're taking the age.
He's the calmest, and he puts things together.
Well, and so it means on tour you're going completely crazy.
Only Ómar and Davíð. They're both born in 78, and by the Chinese, I think they're both horses. So me and Maki, I think I'll have to take some responsibility. So I would say Maki is the father, and I'm maybe more like the other father, or the mother. So we try to take care of some of the business, but definitely Maki is the grandfather, and I'm the father, and they are the 2 boys, Ómar and Davíð.
Would you say that on tour this is actually what you're really in? Are you actually a live band, ADHD?
Definitely.
I think all our records have been very live. We've never done any real overdubbing or editing, or it's all very live. And actually, if I talk about the difference of the records, it's actually been maybe more into the last record was recorded after we did a 3-week tour, and our sound engineer actually talked about it, that this was the easiest record he's ever recorded, because as soon as we had the song, as soon as we had played it in the way we liked it, we went to the next song. So basically after one day we had finished 90% of the album, and on the second day we were recording, we were basically fooling around with some other songs and using the time to practice, basically.
It's pretty efficient. I mean, if I
It's
was a
very
label,
efficient.
I would take you. So cheap to produce albums with you, if you do all in one take. You give your songs funny names, and I was mistaken with the last song. It's not called IFE, it's called Ife. And you name your songs actually funny. You have some names that you just name them after yourselves. There's one Ómar Guðjónsson, and another one is Davíð Þór Gunnarsson, and you name them after you and your friends. Is there a system behind this, or is it making fun?
I named one song in the first record Óskar Guðjónsson, after my brother. And Óskar named one song
After you. On the third one, you named a song after Ife.
Who's Ife?
Ife Tolentino is one of our great friends. He's a Brazilian guitarist and a singer, a crazy good musician. He comes here every year, and we are fortunate to play with him. He and Óskar has been best friends for 15 years or something. And so we've been so fortunate to know him, and he has affected our life a lot. So we wanted to mention him in a song.
I think Ómar started this tradition with the band of naming songs after people, and I think it's Ómar also had the idea of naming the records 1, 2, 3, and 4, and so it's
well, that's very Led Zeppelin-like, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it.
Definitely, but it's also very efficient. It's also very efficient.
Yes,
and
it is.
And naming songs after people is also quite efficient, because we are struggling sometimes finding names for songs. So,
but the next song we're going to play is from album number 3, and it's called La Familia. And La Familia I associate with Mafia. So Mafia and ADHD, is there a connection?
La Familia,
Are you Icelandic Mafia?
Not Icelandic, but ADHD Mafia.
Let's play it. Mafia. This is Radio Iceland, and that was the song called La Familia, and we've been just talking to Ómar and Óskar Guðjónsson from ADHD, and they're still here in the studio. Guys, La Familia is so important, and the guys are important, and you actually achieved certain famousness, I would call it, but you're pretty well known in Iceland. But you don't play here so much. Is there a reason for that?
That's a good question.
Actually, for us to play, there are a few factors that need to maybe come together. The right space, right instruments, and that isn't always that easy for us. And I think we're also we're picky on what we want to play and when we want to play and how we want to play. We've said no to quite a lot of gigs that we could have played. So we want to keep, I think, ADHD as a kind of a special thing.
And I can totally understand that, actually, just to tell you that. And where are you heading to? Is it more like your goal to play overseas, mainland Europe, Italy, because it's sunny there? Well, if you could choose a tour, where would it lead you to?
To all the continents, I think.
Japan?
Definitely, and South America and South Europe. I mean, we've mainly played in Northern Europe, and it's been fantastic. I mean, for us to see the respect and just the places, and a lot of people, playing first time somewhere in Germany, and the club is full is a complete success for us. So I think we just take one step at a time, and
right.
I think the most important thing is to keep the band together as long as possible.
If I go to a ADHD concert, what do I have to expect then? Or I don't know what I have to expect.
I think you should put your mind to go on a journey with this, basically. Every concert is different. Sometimes it's more rockish, and sometimes it's more classical, and you can expect whatever, but mainly just we're trying to set our minds to do something together and make a journey for 2 or 3 hours.
We'll go on a journey soon, but now we're going to play one song which is pretty short. It's for Davíð Þór, who is your piano player and who isn't here. Now it's called Brosi, Radio Iceland 89.1. Brosi. It can mean another word for brother.
Right.
It's like a nickname, yeah.
Just explain to me. That really does mean something for you. I mean, actually, ADHD, it's all about this family, friendship, musicians kind of thing.
Because music doesn't come from the notes on the paper. It comes from something other. And I think for us it comes from this kind of emotional connection and friendship and trust. And
so if somebody writes something bad about your music, is it like personally hurts you?
No, not really.
Then you're actually professional enough to say, okay, it's your opinion.
I mean, always, when you get criticism, of course, if you read it and you feel something about it, but in the end, if you have any enjoyment to do what you're doing, the criticism doesn't mean that much. But always it's good, then you get a good criticism, and you're happy. So maybe it's a mental statement of just deciding what you're gonna think about this criticism.
I think every criticism will affect you. How is maybe something that you will have to deal with yourself. But I think you can learn something from every criticism also. You can read it and see if there is any truth in it. But I think what experience teaches you is that everybody is allowed to have their own opinion about stuff. So
definitely.
But if I mean what I say, I mean it for the people that want to take it in.
Yeah.
If it affects other people in a different way, that's up to them. I did my best, and if I do it with clean conscience,
Right.
I've done what I can do, and then it's for the people that want to listen to that or it hits them. It's not for everybody.
If you express the music from your heart, you probably get the right audience in the end.
I would like to stop the show here, but we can't because we have time left. It's 40 minutes to 8. We are listening to Radio Iceland, and I have ADHD and 2 brothers in the studio, Óskar and Ómar Guðjónsson. And this is the first out of 6 shows that you're going to be able to listen to every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Icelandic time. With the who is who of Icelandic Jazz with me here in the studio. And speaking about the next song, Óskar, many people say ADHD has such an Icelandic tone, especially you with your saxophone. It's like I define this as this warmth kind of tone. Does that mean anything to you, or is that just complete theoretic talk?
It means that the heating in Iceland is cheap, so we heat our houses extremely well.
Yeah, and you keep the lights on all the time.
And if not only that, but if you need a better air, you just open the door, and open the windows. You keep the heaters on. You don't. So to me it's the same thing. It's the warm heart of families. I mean, La Familia to me means family. It means not only your birth family, but your family of friends. And I think warm-heartedness comes from this, when you know that you have a friend whenever it's needed.
Radio Iceland here with ADHD. That was the band ADHD, and that was the song London Uts. Thank you, Ómar and Óskar Guðjónsson, for coming here. It has been such a pleasure with you guys. Stay tuned for the upcoming 5 live shows every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. with the who's who of Icelandic Jazz here with me. My name is Nabil Atassi. Thank you and have a nice evening.